Everybody, happy Wednesday, I think it is. All days have kind of blended together here. Happy Wednesday. We're going to be talking about genotype versus phenotype today. Before we get into that, though, a couple things. If you have a question, a lot of people have been asking questions on Google Classroom. For whatever reason, I can't answer those questions on Google Classroom. I click reply and then I get a weird screen and it doesn't work. So if you've got a question that you posted on Classroom, sorry about that. Shoot me an email and I'll be able to answer it that way. I had a lot of people ask email questions. Those are working fine. So if you got a question, do it through email. Make sure you go back and do that lesson from yesterday if you haven't, or else none of this will make a lot of sense because we talked a lot about genotype and phenotype in yesterday's lesson. So do that first. And then online textbook was the other issue. Some people were struggling to log in, and I apologize. I thought it was the same login that you use for your computer. It's not. That would make life too easy. So I'll post something with this video that walks you through how to do it. So it's not too complicated, but of course it's more complicated than it needs to be. So hopefully those two things will go a little bit smoother from now on. And anything that you are getting through these lessons, I had a question, I think this morning, all that just needs to be done by the end of this week. So I'll take everything at the end of the week. We still will have a Friday quiz, but have all of your assignments ready and done by the end of the week. I'm not going to obviously hold you to it. It has to be done the day I post it because the times I post are going to be a little bit different every day. Hold on. What's the matter, puppy? You got to stop crying. We're doing a video. She's sad. Anyway, we're going to talk about genotype versus phenotype, and then I've got something for you to do that will kind of blend these two together. It'll help make sense of them, and it'll be hopefully interesting for you. So genotype number 1 is on the left here, obviously, and remember that is your specific genes. So you see the chromosomes here, you see these different bands in there, and those represent the different genes. Now, if you're thinking about it, I see 2 different colors, and we don't know necessarily exactly what these represent. It doesn't give us any indication, but I'm going to guess the brown stripes represent the fur, and then the black stripes are probably the eye color. But that would just be a guess. Now, genotype is the actual genes in your cells, in your DNA. And then phenotype is your physical appearance. So genotype, easy to remember. It literally has the word gene in it when you pronounce it. And then phenotype, not as easy to remember, but if you think phenotype, pH, physical features, pH, they both start with pH. That's a good way to remember that. So your phenotype is what you physically look like. So if we were to look at this mouse, we'd say its phenotype is brown fur, black eyes, long tail, I don't know, short ears, pink nose. Those are all ways of describing phenotype. And then if we looked at the genes, we'd go and look at the specific alleles, which we'll talk more about in detail tomorrow. The alleles that make this mouse have those physical traits. Okay, remember, genes lead to physical traits. So if I have a specific gene, it can make me appear a specific way. Okay, so we're going to kind of take this a step further here, but I've got an assignment for you. So what I want you to do today is look at your blood relatives. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean somebody that's going to share the same DNA as you. So mom or dad, brother or sister, grandma or grandpa, step siblings or half siblings, those can work. But the odds of you finding similar genes are going to be a little bit trickier. So we're looking at just relatives that you're 100% related to. So you got your genes from your parents got their genes from their parents. So we can guarantee that mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, and then 100% brother and sister, those will all have the same gene. It's the same gene pool, right? It's not going to be identical genes, but the same gene pool that they're drawing from. Daisy, give me 1 minute and then we'll go out, okay? All right, so here's what you're going to do. I want you to look at those blood relatives. You don't have to get in their face and stare at them. If you don't have those people available to you, a picture will do just fine. I want you to list their phenotypes, okay? As many blood relatives as you can find. List their phenotypes. So what does this look like? First, you want to start with yourself, okay? So if I was doing my phenotype, I'd say brown hair, slightly curly maybe. I'd say blue eyes, I'm about 6 feet tall, more or less. I'd put that down. I would record my ear shape. That's kind of weird. Look at ear shapes. Look at nose shapes. Obviously, eye color, hair color. Look at lip shapes as well. So, do you have fuller lips? Do you have thinner lips? So, I want you to record each of those for you and any blood relatives that you can either look at face to face or look at a picture. Try to get as much of that information as you can, and just write this down in a sheet. It doesn't need to be sent to me. It doesn't need to be on a doc. I want you to record as many as you can and then compare. Okay. See if you can find similarities and then see where you find differences in just your phenotype. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you to study your blood relatives' DNA, but I want you to compare phenotypes between blood relatives to yourself. See what's in common. So highlight anything that you see. If you've got the same nose as your mom, put a star by that and say that's where that came from. Okay. Look at your brothers and sisters. Do any of you have the same physical traits? Okay. So just phenotype is your focus for today. And then I'll tell you kind of more what we're going to do with that later, but I want you to hold on to that list. Again, you don't have to send it to me. You don't have to turn it in. Just make that list and then hold on to it. And that is your only assignment for today. I'll give you a little bit more info coming up here tomorrow, and then we'll take this on, and we're going to get into Punnett squares, which is a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it, I think. So complete that list. Don't have to send it to me. Hold on to it. We're going to use it a little bit later on, and that is it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.